The problem new demands insufficient resources. Almost everyone I encounter these days feels he or she has too much to handle and not enough time to get it all done. In the course of a single recent week, I consulted with a partner in a major global investment firm who was concerned that the new corporate management responsibilities he was being offered would stretch his family commitment beyond the limits. I'm with a middle-level human resource manager, trying to stay on top of her 150 plus email requests per day, fueled by the goal of doubling the company's regional office staff from 1,100 to 2,000 people in 1 year. On as she tried to protect a social life for herself on the weekends, a paradox has emerged in his new millennium. People have enhanced quality of life, but at the same time they are adding to their stress levels by taking on more than they have the resources to handle. It's as though their eyes were bigger than their stomachs, and most people are to some degree frustrated and perplexed about how to improve the situation. Work no longer has clear boundaries. A major factor in the mounting stress level is that the actual nature of our jobs has changed much more dramatically and rapidly than have our training for and our ability to deal with work. In just the last half of the 20th century, what constitutes work in the industrialized world was transformed from assembly line, make it and move it kinds of activity to what Peter Drucker has to aptly termed knowledge work. In the old days, work was self-evident. Fields were to be plowed, machines turned, box packed, cow's milk, wickets franked. You knew what work had to be done. You could see it. It was clear when the work was finished or not finished. Now, for many of us, there are no edge for to most of our projects. Most people I know have at least half a dozen things they are trying to achieve right now, and even if they had the rest of their lives to try, they wouldn't be able to finish these to perfection. You are probably faced with the same dilemma. How good could that conference potentially be? How effective could the training program be? Or the structure of your executive's compensation package? How inspiring is the essay you are writing? How motivating the staff meeting? How functional the reorganization? And the last question, how much available data could be relevant to do those projects better? The answer is an infinite amount, easily accessible, or at least potentially so through the web. On another front, the lack of edge can be create more work for everyone. Many of today's organizational outcomes require cross-divisional communication, cooperation, and engagement. Our individual office silos are crumbling, and with them is growing the luxuries of not having to read CCD emails from the marketing department or from human resources or from some ad hoc deal with a certain issues committee. Our jobs keep changing. The, the disintegrating edges of our projects and our work in general will be challenging enough for anyone. But now we must add to that equation the constantly shifting definition of our jobs. I often ask in my seminars, which of you are doing only what you were hired to do? Seldom do I get a raised hand. As amorphous as Ashley's work may be, if you had the chance to stick with some specifically described job long enough, you'll probably figure out what you need to do, how much, at what level to stay sane. But few have that luxury anymore for two reasons. The organizations we are involved with seem to be in constant mode with ever-changing goals, products, partners, customers, markets, technologies, and owners. The owned by necessary shake-up structures, forms, roles, and responsibilities. The average professional is more of a free agent these days than ever before, changing careers as often as his or her parents once changed jobs. Even 40-somethings and 50-somethings hold to standards of continual growth. Their arms are just more integrated into the mainstream now, covered by the catch-on professional management and executive development, which simply means they won't keep doing what they are doing for any extended period of time. Little seems clear for very long anymore, as far as what our work is and what or how much input may be relevant to doing it well. We are allowing in huge amounts of information and communication from the outer world and generating an equally large volume of ideas and agreements with ourselves and others from our inner world. And we haven't been well equipped to deal with huge numbers of internal and external commitments. The old models and habits are insufficient. Neither our standards education nor traditional time management models, nor the plethoras of organizing tools available, such as personal notebook planners, Microsoft Outlook, or Palm Personal Digital Assistant, or PDAs, has given us a viable means of meeting the new demands placed on us. If you are trying to, if you have tried to use any of these process or tools, you probably found them unable to accommodate the speed, complexity, and changing priority factors inherent in what you are doing. The ability to be successful, relaxed, and in control during these fertile but turbulent times demands new ways of thinking and working. There's a great need for new methods, technologies, and work habits to help us get on top of our world. The traditional approach to time management and personal organization were useful in their time. They provide helpful reference points for a workforce that was just emerging from an industrial assembly line modality into a new kind of work that includes choice about what to do and discretion about when to do it. When time itself turned into a work factor, personal calendars become a key work tool. Even as late as the 1980s, many professionals consider having a pocket day timer the essence of being organized, and many people today think of their calendars as a central tool for being in control. Along with this discretionary time, and also came the need to make good choice about what to do. ABC priority queues and daily to-do lists were key techniques that people developed to help them sort through their choice in some meaningful way. If you had the freedom to decide what to do, you also had the responsibility to make good choice given your priorities. What you have probably discovered, at least at some levels, is that a calendar, through those important, can really effectively manage or only a small portion of what you need to organize. And daily to-do lists and simplified priority coding have proven inadequate to deal with the volume and variable nature of the average professional's workload. More and more people's jobs are made up of dozens or even hundreds of emails a day, with no latitude left to ignore a single request, complaint, or order. There are few people who can or even should expect to code everything an A, B, or a C priority, or who can maintain some predetermined list of to-dos that the first telephone call or interruption from their boss won't totally undo. The big picture versus the nitty-gritty. At the other end of the spectrum, a huge number of business books, models, seminars, and gurus have championed the bigger view as the solution to dealing with our complex world. Clarifying major goals and values so we thinking goals gives order, meanings, and direction to our work. In practice, however, the well-intentioned exercise of value thinking too often does not achieve its desired results. I have seen too many of these efforts fail. For one or more of the following three reasons. The first, there is too much distraction at the day-to-day, hour-to-hour levels of commitments to allow for appropriate focus on the higher levels. The second, ineffective personal organizational systems create a huge subconscious resistance to undertaking even bigger projects and goals that will likely not to be managed well, and that will in turn cause even more distraction and stress. The third, when loftier levels and values actually are gratified, it raises the bar of our standards, making us notice that much more that needs changing. We are already having a serious negative reaction to the overwhelming number of things we have to do, and what creates much of the work that's on those lists in the first place, our values. Focus on primary outcomes and value is a critical exercise, certainly, but it does not mean there's less to do or fewer challenges in getting the work done. Quite the contrary, it just ups the ante in the game, which still must be played day to day. For human resource executive, for example, designed to deal with quality of work life issues in order to attract and keep key talent does not make things simpler. There has been a missing piece in our new cultures of knowledge work, a system with a coherent set of behaviors and tools that functions effectively at the levels at which work really happens. It must incorporate the results of big picture thinking as well as the smallest of open details. It must manage multiple tiers of priorities. It must maintain control over hundreds of new inputs daily. It must save a lot more time and effort than are needed to maintain it. It must make it easier to get things done. The premise, the ready state of the mature artist